October is classified. For 1 month only, Travel Made Personal goes dark on the main series and origins and steps fully into the shadows. This is TMP Haunts, ghost towns, cemeteries, and haunted ground, paired with covert operations where history whispers and Murph stirs up mischief. Welcome to Operation October Blackout. The mission? Uncover the strange, the sacred, and the spooky before the month runs out. They still talk about the morning of January 19th, 1912. The air was crisp, the crowd thick, pressing against the picket fence, their breath clouding in the chill. They watched, silent, as a man dropped to his death from fresh-cut scaffolding, a stark silhouette against the rising sun. Some say the rope never stopped swinging that day. It just became invisible. A spectral pendulum marking time. And folks working late in the Old Osceola County Courthouse, they swear that same man still shuffles along the third floor hallway, his ghostly footsteps echoing in the quiet, eternally waiting for the retrial that never came, a verdict he never truly accepted. I spent the last week doing a deep dive, a proper archaeological dig, if you will. I was buried under trial ledgers, poring over property deeds, and sifting through more than a few dusty boxes of ghost hunting gear. My mission? To uncover whether justice in Osceola County ever truly ended with the gavel's final thud, or if some of these cases, and the souls tied to them, are still very much in session. This isn't just about spooky stories. It's about the echoes of history, the lingering presence of a past that refuses to be forgotten. What if the stories we tell aren't just folklore, but a kind of collective memory, a persistent hum from another time? Kissimmee's iconic red brick landmark rose from the Florida scrub in 1890, a grand statement of civic ambition. With its impressive Romanesque arches, towering clock, and intricate brickwork, it was a magnificent edifice, especially considering Florida was still more cattle trails and citrus groves than paved highway. The cost? A staggering $35,000. It sounds almost insulting by today's standards, but back then, it was a princely sum, a testament to the county's aspirations, even by rugged frontier measures. Yet, it housed everything vital to a burgeoning community, the clerk's bustling office, the grim realities of jail cells in the basement, and a stately courtroom that, come Saturday nights, often transformed into a lively community dance floor. Imagine the contrast. Justice by day, jive by night. Progress, slow but steady, began to snake its way into the old building. The first electrical wires hummed to life by 1901, casting a new, albeit flickering, glow on ancient documents. And just 4 years later, the proud sheriff could boast about holding the only telephone in the entire county. This wasn't some casual communication device. It was a lifeline, a harbinger of urgency. One ring meant a moonshine bust was underway, a frantic race to catch illicit distillers. 2 rings? That was a call for a hanging, a public spectacle that would draw crowds for miles around. In those early days, death and progress truly shared the same party line, their narratives interwoven in the very fabric of the courthouse. The court records from 1908 to 1912 paint a stark, almost brutal picture of frontier justice. They list 9 executions, every single one a hanging, each meticulously advertised in the local paper. These grim announcements would appear right alongside notices for cheerful church socials and boisterous cattle auctions, a chilling juxtaposition of life and death. The gallows themselves stood a mere 20 paces from an old, majestic live oak that still leans over the courthouse lawn today. If you catch the sunlight just right, you can still see the faint, almost imperceptible rope scars etched into its ancient bark, silent witnesses to countless final breaths. The hanging in January of 1912 drew the biggest turnout, a macabre gathering that transcended mere curiosity. The condemned was a ranch hand, convicted of a particularly brutal crime, murdering his employer with a branding iron. Reporters, with a flair for the dramatic, wrote that when the trap door slammed open, the concussion was so violent it cracked every single window on the first floor of the courthouse. Afterward, in a rather peculiar attempt to cleanse the air, both literally and figuratively, county commissioners decided to plant jasmine vines around the base of the gallows. Their hope was to sweeten the air, to mask the lingering scent of death, and perhaps the memory of brutality. But Murph probably pulled them out by the roots the first night, because the vines never truly took root. But the stories, the stories certainly did. They flourished, growing wilder and more persistent with each passing year, weaving themselves into the very soul of the place. Enter John L. Overstreet. He arrived in Osceola County in 1905, a lanky, ambitious 25-year-old stenographer eager to make his mark. He didn't just make a mark, he became an institution. Overstreet served the county until 1953, retiring as the venerable court clerk, a remarkable 48-year streak of unwavering dedication that no one has ever come close to beating. The courthouse was his life, his second home, perhaps even his first. He died just 2 years after his retirement, succumbing to a heart attack while, fittingly, pruning that very same old oak tree on the courthouse lawn, the one with the rope scars. It seems he couldn't stay away, even in death. And that's where the legend truly begins. Staff members, generations of them, will tell you that his routine never quit. Guards on their lonely overnight shifts report the distinct, rhythmic clicking of typewriter keys coming from his old office on the 3rd floor, often around 3 a.m., when the building should be utterly silent. Attorneys, arriving early to prepare for court, swear they hear someone following them up the narrow, creaky staircase, footsteps matching their pace perfectly, always 2 steps behind. Dusty swears she heard them too, though maybe Murph was just messing with us. The phantom presence accompanies the lawyers until they reach the 3rd floor landing, where the air suddenly turns ice cold, a palpable drop in temperature that raises goosebumps. During a major renovation in 2017, a construction worker, alone in the 3rd floor hallway, casually called out, "Anybody here?" He probably expected nothing. Instead, every single locked cabinet door in the hallway, without explanation, flung open at once with a startling clatter. The worker, paperwork half finished and nerves completely frayed, quit the very next day. Coincidence? Perhaps. But for those who work there, it's just another chapter in the ongoing saga of Mr. Overstreet, the clerk who, it seems, never truly punched out. Even with a sleek, modern judicial center opening just across the street in 2003, the original courthouse's third-floor courtroom stubbornly refuses to be relegated to mere history. It still sees action. Judges sometimes use it for ceremonial arguments, perhaps drawn by the weight of its legacy, or maybe just the sheer acoustics. Jurors, both new and seasoned, still sit on the very same pine benches that once held spectators in lace collars and stiff suspenders, watching the unfolding dramas of a bygone era. Directly opposite the stately courthouse, where tales of justice and spectral clerks reside, sits Grissom Park. It's a seemingly innocuous playground, but locals will tell you it moonlights as a paranormal hotspot, a place where the veil between worlds seems particularly thin. Parents, especially those living nearby, have reported witnessing swings swaying rhythmically at 2 a.m., their chains clinking in perfect, unsettling unison, even when the air is utterly still, not a breath of wind to stir them. Some claim to hear the faint, joyful laughter of children, a sound that would be sweet if it weren't so out of place in the dead of night. Others, however, hear something far more somber, the steady, measured cadence of boots marching, a phantom patrol. This isn't just random haunting. Local lore suggests these could be the restless spirits of the jail trustees who, in decades past, were tasked with burying unclaimed remains along the adjacent funeral home fence line. Imagine the untold stories, the forgotten lives, now perhaps stirring in the soil beneath the playground. A 2021 ghost tour recorder set up in the park during one of Kissimmee's popular historical walks captured something truly bizarre. What sounds unmistakably like a judge's gavel pounding, not once, but in distinct sets of 3, coming from nowhere and everywhere, all at once. Locals with a shiver and a knowing glance have dubbed these unsettling occurrences the night court sessions, suggesting that even across the street, justice, or something akin to it, continues its spectral work. You know, historic preservation isn't just about saving old bricks and mortar, is it? It's about saving context. It's about understanding the narrative threads that connect us to the past. The Old Osceola Courthouse, in all its Romanesque glory and spectral mystery, stands as a profound testament to the messy, often brutal, and always profoundly human pursuit of justice. It reminds us that justice, even in most idealized form, is carried out by imperfect people and imperfect systems. The ghost lore? The whispered tales of restless spirits and unexplained phenomena. They're not just spooky entertainment. They are, in a very real sense, a unique form of historical preservation. They keep those difficult, sometimes uncomfortable memories breathing, alive in the collective consciousness, when textbooks might otherwise flatten them into mere footnotes. Whether you're a staunch believer in spirits or simply a keen observer of the power of collective memory and local legend, this building serves as a potent reminder. Every verdict delivered, every cheer at a public hanging, every quiet signature on a clerk's form, like those John L. Overstreet meticulously penned for nearly half a century. Each of these moments shaped the county we see today. To ignore the folklore, to dismiss these persistent whispers from the past, would be its own kind of miscarriage of history. It would be to lose a vital human dimension of our heritage. So next time you find yourself strolling through downtown Kissimmee, take a moment. Look up at that magnificent Romanesque tower. Let your eyes trace the intricate brickwork and decide for yourself whether the past ever truly dies. If the wind shifts just right, you might still catch a faint, sweet whiff of jasmine that never quite grew. A ghostly aroma lingering from those ill-fated vines. You might hear the phantom click-clack of typewriters that were hauled to the dump decades ago. Or, if you're brave enough to step inside, you might just feel someone keeping pace, 2 steps behind you on the narrow staircase, a constant, silent presence. The courthouse doors officially close at 5, but the docket, it seems, runs all night. You've been watching Operation October Blackout, part of Travel Made Personal. Classified missions continue all month, so subscribe, stay curious, and keep your light burning.